Welcome to the Nobody Knowz podcast with Callie Zamzo. Join us for conversations with local changemakers and hear the stories that don't always get told. It'll be honest, messy and beautiful, touching and humorous. Slow down, pour a glass, and pull up a chair. This is the Nobody Knowz podcast.
Welcome to Nobody Knowz. I'm your host, Callie Zamzo. I'm going to start off today with the Zamzo tip of the week because it's been on my mind and I've had a lot of people asking lately. So we're going to talk about cats for a second. So cats have, they were originally evolved in arid climates. And so they did not get moisture very easily. So in their evolution, they get their moisture from eating their food. So it's very important with a cat that if you are feeding a kibble, that you incorporate some sort of soft food, because that will be a helpful way to get their hydration going. And if they're not hydrated, then there are some very serious conditions that can happen, including urinary issues and things like that. So it is really important to make sure that your cat is getting moisture. And you'll see them lap up some water and they'll get some moisture that way, but really needs to come partially from their food. Of course, you can go to any of our Zamzo stores. We have a huge selection. I know this because my daughter and I inventoried it last January, and it took us a very long time to count all those cans. So we have a very good selection. You can go in and one of our experts at any one of our 12 stores can help you, or you could visit zamzos.com. And this was all well thought out. I also want to talk about Cats, the musical, because that was the first musical I ever went to. I was in 7th grade and I visited my Aunt Katie and Uncle Charlie in San Francisco. And they took us into the city, my brother and I, and they said, we're taking you to a musical. And I didn't know what it was. And it was so magical. The theater itself was so beautiful and breathtaking. And the people and the formality of having the ticket and, going through the door and then having somebody tell us where our seats were. And then we sat in their cushy seats and there was this big stage and it was already preset. If you've ever seen Cats, the Cats stage is amazing. And I was just blown away by it. It changed things for me forever. I am a huge Broadway fan. I am a season ticket holder of Broadway of Boise. And I think it's part of this community, the fact that we bring in Broadway shows and all sorts of wonderful theatrical things to the Morrison Center. And so with that, I would like to introduce our guest today, Laura Kendall. She is the executive director of the Morrison Center. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's so fun to be here, Callie. Thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited to have you here. I feel like I already know you, just because you've come out and spoken at various things, and you'll introduce things at times, and then I was also at the Women of the Year event, and I noticed that you were honored. So congratulations on that.
Thank you so very much.
Lots of great things going on in your world right now.
Yeah, it really is. It's I feel very blessed. The job that I have, the opportunity to go see Broadway, and I absolutely love your story because that's what I look for every day is how are we making an impact, and how are we making sure that every step of the way our fans are getting this exceptional experience when they come to the Morrison Center. So I love that story of yours, and it's so important to me to know that we're making that kind of an impact. So, yeah. Yay.
You are. My mom and I have been season ticket holders now for decades. Like, it's been a very long time that she and I have been doing it. And then my husband, when I married him, he actually was volunteering at the Morrison Center. So he got me volunteering, and we would volunteer together. And then he and his mom got season tickets. Now all 4 of us go. So my daughter also used to go, but we had to drop her this year because she went off to college. So
hopefully she's getting experience there too.
She's in New York City. She's seeing shows that are way, she's getting to see all sorts of fun things. So yeah, it's great. Lovely. Okay, so before we dive into things, and I do have some wonderful questions for you today. Yes. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to the Morrison Center?
Absolutely. My journey probably started, I don't know, maybe in the 2nd grade, and I'm the youngest. But also my brothers and sisters are all half brothers and sisters, are quite a bit older than me. And so I also grew up like an only child. And so my mom and dad were looking around for what do we do with this kid. I wasn't a sports kid, though I love sports. But that was not something I gravitated towards. And my older sister was an actress, and I grew up watching her on the stage and admiring her so very much that I just decided I'm going to give it a try. And I'll never forget my first audition was for The King and I in Lincoln, Nebraska at a high school. High school was doing it and they needed a bunch of kids. And you had to sing a song. Okay, getting in front of and singing in front of people was just something I was like, oh no. And the only song I knew was from Annie, The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow. But I only knew the chorus. So awesome. I sang it 3 times in a row because I just didn't know what else to do. And finally the director was like, okay, great, good job. Okay. So she saved me. But I did happen to get one of those kid roles, and that really just sort of solidified it for me and became my journey with theater that I just absolutely love. And I majored in it in college and then went to Los Angeles for a little while and worked in film and television, worked for Disney for a minute, and realized I missed the live experience. And so had to regroup and think about what that was going to be for me, and ended up going back to Lincoln, my hometown, and started working for the Lead Center for the Performing Arts at the University of Nebraska. And that experience, I worked in education and community engagement. So I got to take these incredible artists that were coming through our stages and connect them with students all across the state and communities all across the state. And that was the minute where I went, oh, I love this job. I love this world. And I just kept working my way up to eventually venue management and being able to oversee a Broadway series. I mean, it's just, you have to pinch me that I have this job. It's absolutely the best time. And so that's kind of a little bit about me. I've kind of lived a lot of places. I'm a Midwesterner at heart, though, and I'll do the Midwestern goodbye probably today, Kelly, so watch out. It'll take a half hour, but
I love it.
We'll get there eventually. Talk about the weather, But I absolutely adore Boise. It was getting here was an amazing experience to have so much incredible arts organizations already in this city of this size is phenomenal. It's not something I've ever experienced in any other places I've lived. I've lived in big cities and smaller communities, and so it's really rare and very special here. But I think our audiences know that just by the sheer love of all of our arts organizations and how many people come out to go see things. Yeah. It's really special. So that's a little bit about me. I love theater, but now I love classical music. I love rock. I mean, we program all of it. So right. It's all in my heart. And even if there's something that I'm like, I'm not sure this is my thing, it's somebody's. And so it's important to me that we put it on our stage.
So what was it like to because I remember when the change happened and all of a sudden you came here and I was like, oh, wait, who is this person? So what was that like to just get plunked? I mean, plunked into a position sounds really unsophisticated, but
right.
So what was that like? Yeah,
it's so funny. The industry that I work in is remarkably small, and yet we don't all know each other and we don't know about all of the different venues. And so it's an interesting ecosystem. So about some of them in bigger cities. We all know the Kennedy Center. We all know the Lincoln Center. I know the Midwest centers. I worked for one of them. I know the ones that are on university campuses for the most part. I think I do. And this job popped up at Boise State, and I did not know there was a performing arts center here, and I didn't know the person who ran it, and I didn't know anything about it. But I saw, as the more I did some research, how much potential was here to really connect this arts organization that's been around for 40 years more deeply with the community and more deeply with the campus, and also an opportunity to bring more things here. Broadway, but also there's so much that's touring, and Boise's positioned in such a great place that, you can get routing so easily from Salt Lake to Seattle. We're such a great stop.
Absolutely.
I think that's, Treefort really saw that as an opportunity. And so I thought, oh, how much fun would it be to get an opportunity to really move the organization forward, leave it better than how I found it. So I was really thrilled to get offered the position. And it was a no-brainer. I was like, yep, I'll be there. Yeah. So I quickly, figured out how that move was going to happen and got here in October of 2019 and started looking for a house. And wow, that was an adventure.
I was going to just say, so that the timing of that, I guess I didn't connect that. So you just barely got here and then COVID hit.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And all hell broke loose. And it's particularly at the Morrison Center. I mean, you can't, like, everything you were supposed to be doing was shut down. What was that like?
Oh man. Wow. That was not on my bingo card for what I was gonna experience getting here. It was very fascinating because like you said, I just started in October. I had barely gotten to know the team. I was really learning them and they were learning me, and we were figuring it out and really building that trust. And then we had to sort of forge that bond, in fire, because when that date rolled around in March, we were canceling upwards of 30, 40 events, and, it just kept going. And I hardly had, the business under my belt. So I really leaned on the team, and they're extraordinary. I think the world of them because they stepped into the unknown and really just made it work. So, and these are folks who'd been with the organization for many years, right, and knew the ticketing. Brian and Debbie, who worked in ticketing, just really went, okay, here's how we're going to make this work. Here's how we're going to do all of these refunds. And they just worked around the clock to make this happen. And I will say this for our patrons of the Morrison Center, they stuck with us. We were closed for 18 months. Yeah. We had people's money for Broadway, and they let us keep their money with the understanding that, yes, we will have a season when this is done. Yep. And had they not done that, we would be starting over from scratch. But we were able to open with Cats the musical. And then we went right into 3 weeks of Hamilton. So yeah, when I think back about it, I think, it was a really hard, it felt long when you're in it. And now it feels really like it was a short time. Right. Because sometimes you're like, I don't have a lot to show for it. But at the same time, we did a strategic plan during that time. We were a tiny little team working on Zoom, communicating with our patrons and trying to keep our production staff employed and working. And so we became a lecture room for Boise State so we could do social distancing. Wow. We had the local arts groups use our stage so that they could film their work. And if you have a chance to see what the Boise Philharmonic was doing and what Ballet Idaho was doing on our stages during that time, and what they were filming was absolutely breathtaking. They had such high quality just sets and lights. Mm-hmm. They took it to a whole nother level. It was extraordinary. And so we got to participate in that and allow them to have that opportunity. They had no audiences. Yeah. It was amazing time. And I think our team came together in really extraordinary ways that just for me was so beautiful to see. Everybody took on leadership and just went, here's what we got to do to make this work. And, there were times when sometimes we just sit on Zoom and be like, we just have to, decompress together on just what we're experiencing, because it was a moving target of when we could reopen constantly. Yes. I was on so many calls with people. Okay, what does this mean? How are we going to reopen? What needs to happen? And Broadway really took the lead on that. And we were able to reopen with COVID testing. And I will say that year of our season, once we reopened, we had not one issue with someone coming down with the cast with COVID. Like we didn't have to cancel a show.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was incredible. And I think because our production team just took it so seriously and they worked so hard, our audiences were understanding. They wore their masks. Thank you so much. That's how we got to have Hamilton. And as soon as we didn't have to, we were like, let's not.
It does change the experience.
Yeah,
I remember that.
It sure did.
Yeah. Well, then other things, it seems to me now, maybe it wasn't connected with that. Maybe it's just during your tenure and they're disconnected, but it seems to me some changes happened during that time. One of the things that Clint and I did is we volunteered and we would give out the refreshments, like up in the booths upstairs and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that all became like, you changed that out, or did you hire a group to do that? How did you, because it shifted a little bit.
Yeah, we did change it. So we did a lot of analysis around revenue and also the experience of patrons being able to get, a beer on every floor if they wanted to, because we only had one bar area and the lines were always so long. And we thought, how do we fix this so we can have it on every floor? And our volunteers weren't at that time not interested in serving alcohol. They might be now, but they weren't then. And so we just, the university has at the time, we have Chartwell's now, but we had a different company then that does all of the food service and beverage service for the entire university. And so it was easy for them to just take that piece over. And then we could increase volume for people and be able to take drinks into the hall and really have that experience that matches something that you would see on Broadway or in other venues. And it was a big deal. It was a big change.
Yeah.
But, overall, it was a lot of communication, but also just, people getting used to a change. And then people were like, oh, this is really nice because now I don't have to down my glass of, $9 wine before I walk into the hall. I can actually take it with me. People were worried, people are going to spill and make a mess. And I said, well, we'll just we'll do this as a pilot. We'll see. And if it is a problem, we'll go back the other way. But it wasn't. People hold on to their glasses of wine.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah. Funny. They don't want to spill
They
that
don't
$9
want to spill it. So we have very little issue with that. So I think some of those kind of small little shifts felt seismic, probably because we were closed for so long.
Right.
And then we reopened and we'd moved to the box office and put new carpet in and we'd done all these
Yes.
things. And people were like, whoa.
It was great. We were very excited about it. It was, I think you really utilized the time well.
Yeah.
And pretty cool. Do you find that, this is a loaded question because remember, I am a patron.
Yes.
Do you find that the patrons that are, that do the Broadway shows, but also attend the other, so we do a lot of free events there.
Yeah.
I've been to lectures there that were phenomenal, like life-changing. Do you find that the people who are taking time out of their evenings or their Saturday afternoons to come in and spend time, are they, generally speaking, kind people? Are they difficult?
Oh gosh, kind and wonderful. I think people are generally excited and we understand that they've spent their hard-earned money with us and have certain expectations, and we really work hard to meet those expectations. And if we don't, and they let us know, we work really hard to make it right. So it's a give and take. But for the most part, people are just ready for that experience. And I think, I think actually our audiences have shifted slightly, if I could say that, from before COVID to now. And in a way that the sense of community and coming together and sharing space and time with strangers, watching something that's beautiful unfolding on stage or thought-provoking or, emotional or whatever that experience is, people are craving that more so than ever. And I think our audiences understand when I'm coming into that hall, it's a special space.
Yeah.
And I need to be respectful of the people around me and the performers on stage, but also I'm just so grateful to have this moment away from my heavy to-do list, my whatever's going on in my life, my phone's blowing up or there's scrolling to be done or I can take a break and have this experience that's so special. So, you know, in fact, we just on Sunday night had Chris Botti, the jazz trumpet player, and it was such a gorgeous night because the sound was so lovely. We had a couple little issues with sound, but for the most part, that hall just is so like absorbent of all that lush sound. And I was just, you know, you could hear a pin drop. People were so engaged and just loving those moments, and then just erupting in applause when the song was finished. And so it's just those moments I live for, because that sense of community, that sense of belonging in with other people. And you know, you may experience this, but our Broadway subscribers, some of them have been Broadway subscribers for so long, they know all their people around them. They see them, you know, when they come to see their Broadway shows, they get caught up on kids and how's this, how's that. And then they don't see each other again until the next Broadway show, which I absolutely love. So I think audiences are so, you know, we might have taken it for granted before that we were able to do all these amazing things, and we could just go to these concerts and go and, you know, and then do it next week if we wanted to. And now I think people are like, oh, this is the time for me to get, you know, something that I need, whatever that is.
Yeah. I, part of the reason why I asked that question is, maybe for any listener who's like, that the Morrison Center is not for me. That's a different type of person. That's a type of person that gets to go and do that and experience things that happen at that beautiful venue. And part of the reason why I bring up the question is because I wholeheartedly disagree with that. I think it's for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And my husband, I'm gonna bring him into the conversation here. He'll be so happy about this, I'm sure. He was like, I don't get Broadway shows. He used to live in New York City. He's like, I don't get it. And so I was like, please just come with me to one. And like I said, he's now a season ticket holder. He loves them. He will laugh at things and cry with things, and he'll sing along once my daughter and I are, you know, rapping to a Hamilton song or whatever. And I think that was something for him that he realized. He's like, oh, I guess I'm a theater person too. Like, there isn't a type. Anybody can go and enjoy these shows. And again, I always go back to Broadway because that's my big thing. But the Morrison Center, the other thing is the speakers that, and I mentioned this earlier, again, life-changing people that I quote very often now and I'm like, they came to Boise State.
Yeah. Yeah. We are so fortunate. I mean, we have great partnerships with Boise State and the Cabin, who are bringing in incredible speakers that just fill the house, and you're just hanging on every word. I love that. Broadway is our biggest, you know, series that we do. It really is our, you know, kind of our showcase, our gem of all the programming. And I often say, you know, and this is attributed to the producers and the folks in New York City. They've really created a brand where the quality now is so much higher than it's ever been. The touring shows are just, I mean, sometimes I like the touring show better than the show that I saw, you know, the original show that I saw in New York. And I think it's just that experience, the quality, the consistency, you know, that you're going to see and get is part of the success of Broadway. And then just, I know people are like, you're telling a story and then you're breaking out in song. I don't get it. But in my own life, you know, I have my soundtrack that goes on in my head.
Absolutely. And the lyrics to the songs those can be life-changing for me. There are songs sometimes that I put on, I just need to hear those lyrics and remind myself, oh yeah, that's right.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And you know, I was talking to somebody about Wicked the other day who was like, well, what? It's Wizard of Oz spinoff. Like, give me I'm like, have you listened to the lyrics? Have you? Yeah. And then the way that the lyrics are sung and how powerful when the belt happens and what they're saying when they're belting it, like there's a whole thing that goes along with it that is like, it's giving me goosebumps just telling you about it. Like to me, it's such a valuable part of my life because it helps me get through things. It helps me put things into perspective. It helps me feel like somebody else out there has felt the way that I've felt because somebody wrote a song about it and sang it in a very poignant way or whatever, you know?
Oh gosh, I have so many moments like that. When I was younger, I mean, you mentioned Cats being there first. So Les Mis was mine.
Oh.
And there are so many songs in that. I mean, Eponine's heartbreaking when, you're just like, oh, you're not the girl.
Yes.
But you love him so much. I mean, as a teenager, was like, I felt that so deeply. But the older I get, there is a song in the musical Waitress.
Oh,
Where, the song that she sings that I think it's almost towards the middle of Act 2, where she's just letting go and like feeling everything. And it's, she's so questioning who she is as a woman and mother and like, what am I doing? And all and her relationships. And the way she just soars in that song. And I think Sarah Bareilles, by the way, wrote just a heck of a score. And
it's one of my favorite musicals.
Oh, it is. And I could watch it again and again.
Me
And I
too.
could listen to that song again and get something new out of it every time because it really moves me so deeply. And there's so many songs like that. I mean, there's just, you're right, Wicked, all of them. And I think that's why also Broadway is just having its moment. There's so much there that young people are finding, but also, folks of every age. And it really is a great opportunity for anyone and everyone to come together. And we've got long time season subscribers now who, they've been season ticket holders for over 20 years. And I just love it. And I love hearing their stories. And, just the gentlemen who are, will tell me, I wasn't so sure this was for me, but they have this, there's one man that I met in the lobby just randomly who was there with his young daughter, his teenage daughter. And she went off to go get concessions or whatever. And he said to me, he goes, I'm not a Broadway fan. Like, this isn't my thing. I'd rather be at a football game. However, this is my daughter's thing. And she's a teenager. And it is harder and harder for me to figure out how to connect with her.
Oh.
And this is our date night. This is our time to get together and have this shared experience. And he goes, and man, the ride home, she talks. She talks about the show, what she loved about the show, the songs that she loved. And then sometimes we actually talk about stuff that's going on in her life. And I went, yeah. That's it.
I at some point the goosebumps are going to stop, but that I love that.
Yeah, it was everything
story.
I had to do to like just not break it like apart in tears and just be like, good for you, good job.
So great.
Yeah.
So you were talking about that Sarah Bareilles song. So is it She Used to Be Mine?
She Used to Be Mine. Yeah, thank you for that. I was like, what is the name of that song?
Well, as soon as you said it, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's talking about this song. So little known fact about me, now it will be well known. One time, I think it was in 2018, so before the pandemic, I saw something pop through on my feed about a Broadway workshop for adults in New York City. It was a camp for adults. And I signed up for it and I went over there, but you had to prepare a solo and you had to perform it. And that was the song that I chose. Yeah.
Callie.
Just love that song so much.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love that you had that experience. That's amazing.
You know what's funny about it is it's all of it, right? It's Broadway. So you're singing, you're dancing, you're acting. It's all of it. I am not a good dancer. And so they were taking videos at various points and then, they use it for advertising and they put it as well. They videoed our class when we were doing this dance and I just am so bad. And so I was kind of like, I was kind of by the side, but I was still kind of in the middle. They had to really, really zoom in to cut me out. But when you see it, when they do the ad, you can see my leg every once in a while, but they purposely everybody else was all in sync doing their thing. And I was struggling. I am always struggling with the dance.
You know what?
Part.
Not everybody's a triple threat and that's okay.
Oh gosh.
That's awesome.
So you are Idaho's only Tony Awards voter. Can you tell us what that means? And wow, I feel like I should be like, oh.
It is truly a privilege. I end up traveling to New York City about once a month from about October to May. And I'm just seeing as many shows as possible.
I want your job.
Oh, it is really special. I mean, what was it? 2 years ago, there was upwards of almost 40 shows in that season. So it was actually almost, I got them all in, but I thought, I'm going to miss a few. This is impossible. But it really, I mean, it is truly a privilege. I'll usually fly in on a Thursday or Friday, see a show Friday night, 2 shows Saturday, and sometimes 2 shows Sunday if they have an evening show. And then I fly home on Monday. And I just see everything. So I'm a member of the Broadway League, which is our national organization of producers, venue managers, kind of anyone in the industry across the country. So I'm not even sure how many members are there. I don't know. There's quite a few. And there's Tony voters that are all across the country as well. They're not all in New York City. And because I'm a full-time member, you can apply to be a Tony voter. And I thought, let me just give it a shot. You know, I have a theater background. I know what I'm doing. Certainly. But then I thought, they're not gonna choose me. Why would they? And they did.
Oh,
they're like, and I think part of it is having representation from Idaho Matters.
Yes.
And so having that voice was important to the league. So I really appreciate that. And, for me, being able to see everything helps me when it's time to put our season together on the shows that we're going to bring. And there are some shows that I see on Broadway that they may not get a Tony Award. They may not get any love. They may have to close early or whatever. But they are absolutely, I know in my heart, they will do awesome in Boise and they will do great on the road. And so part of that is also then encouraging those producers to say, let them know there's a life on the road for this show. I know it's hard to figure out how you're going to get the funding together to put it on the road. But if you do, I will book it in Boise because it's so fun. One of those shows last season was Boop, about Betty Boop.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it did not get nominated as much as it should have. There were so many musicals and there was so much competition. I think it just got lost. But boy, is it a beautiful, fun show. It's about love. Aww. It's about Betty Boop wanting to find love and place and belonging, and who is she beyond the black and white character.
Oh man.
And the choreography is spectacular. The songs are so fun. It is pure joy on that stage. And so my hope is that the producers find a way and they put it on the road and we can have it in Boise, because I just absolutely adore it. I think it was so sweet. Aww. So there's things like that it's really important to get eyes on, to know what we're seeing. And then I'm also a theater kid that loves plays.
Yeah, me too.
Love plays, because I didn't do a lot of musical growing. I mean, I did a couple, but I wasn't a singer and I wasn't a dancer.
Same with me.
So it was just, I could do chorus. Da, da, da. That's about as far as where you want me. And but plays is really, I think, for a lot of young people, that is their first introduction to theater and really understanding the components of it and being able to work with a cast and a team, and you have to put this together and the show must go on. So you've got to figure out how you're going to learn your lines and figure out, how to do this. And so for me, I will always have a love for plays, and some of the plays that have just been incredible.
Yeah,
so
I can only imagine. My closest thing to that is that a couple of summers ago, we decided, the three of us, my daughter, my husband, and I, when we were in New York City, to see as many plays as we could. We got in 9.
Whoa!
It was so awesome. It was so awesome. The best one was Hugh Jackman in Music Man with Sutton Foster. It was remarkable. Yeah. And we knew on the stage at that time, we're like, there's way too much chemistry there. There's something going on. We knew before everything fell apart. We're like, something's going on there.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, okay. So on that note, I'm going to take a moment to thank our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Zamzows, your local source for garden, pet, and plant-friendly products. At Zamzows, we know that healthy communities grow when people can share experiences together, whether that's in the backyard or at the theater. Visit Zamzows.com or stop by one of our 12 Treasure Valley locations. Okay, now we're going to enter the part that we call sharing is caring, or caring is sharing. We could go either way on this one. So this is kind of a rapid fire. Rapid fire questions for you here. Okay, so the first one: what is a performance or an artist that has inspired you recently?
Oh gosh, inspired me recently. Oh boy. Jennifer Simard in Death Becomes Her is ridiculous and fabulous, and her voice is just incredible. And so she has this 8 nights a week, and it's like, how do you do that? She's awesome.
All right, I gotta write that
go
down.
see it. Go see Death Becomes Her.
I've heard the really good things. I'm breaking from the sharing is caring for a moment. Operation Mincemeat.
Ugh.
We saw that the last one we were taking my daughter to college, and just the one. The guy who won the Tony, and that one scene, it's giving me chills. It makes me want to cry right now just thinking about it. There wasn't a dry eye in the house. It was such a spectacular performance. And such in the middle of a really wacky, funny, and it was so poignant. It was like unexpectedly poignant right in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. It's this crazy, zany, silly musical, and then there's just this moment that just catches you off guard, takes your breath away.
Absolutely.
Jack Malone.
Yes,
he
Jack
won.
Malone,
Yeah.
that's it.
So, side story, fun fact: when I was in my late 20s, I directed community theater, and his understudy, Sam Hartley, was one of the kids in Lincoln, Nebraska that I had the privilege of directing in several shows. And I just was like, yeah, of course he's on, that makes perfect sense. It's only a matter of time before he's a huge Broadway star. He's so great. Anyway,
that's cool. That's really cool. I love things like that. Okay, back to our speed round here.
See, I know nothing's rapid fire in my world.
Me neither. Okay, what about a local business, a creative, or a community group that you would like to shout out?
Oh boy, let me shout out the Boise Philharmonic. They just are now the city's ambassador. They are so incredible. So yes, Boise Philharmonic. Thanks for being with us for so long in our community, making beautiful music.
Yeah, they are amazing. That's in the Morrison Center. So amazing to listen to them. It's like it literally, like you feel it in your body. It's so fabulous. Love it. Love it. Okay. How about a book, a podcast, or a resource that has shaped how you think about leadership?
So there is a book, boy, am I going to forget? Annie Duke is her name. She was a poker player winner, and she wrote a book about, what's it called? It's like making bets or something like that when you don't have all the information. And it's like how you make decisions when you don't have all the information, which is what poker players do all the time.
Yeah.
And her journey through this book and just sharing insights on, you have to make decisions every day, all the time, but especially when you're in a business, you're trying to deal with, I may have some of the knowledge, but not all of it, but we're at that point where we just got to decide what we're going to do. And so her book just changed how I think about how I make a decision and how I get as much data as I can and then just go.
Oh, I love that.
It's a great book.
I've written that down. Thank you for the recommendation. These questions are really just for me. I hope other people enjoy them too.
I love it.
All right. Final one. If somebody were thinking about getting into performing arts in any way, shape, or form, do you have advice for them?
I do. Do it. Go for it. There is a perception, I think, that you have to be a performer to have a life in the performing arts, and that's not true. There are so many different places. And, I'm guilty of this too. I didn't know that growing up. And it was right in my backyard. And there's so much from education to marketing to production to booking, like if finance, like if your brain is wired and you love numbers, but you also love the arts, come work for us. I think there's so much opportunity there. And there's such a need for that expertise in arts organizations because we're small and scrappy usually. And so if that's what your love is, there's always going to be a position. I always tell my class, because I teach an arts management class for Boise State, I say, if you like asking for money and have no problem with, building relationships with someone, like you feel like that's really fun and that you believe in the organization and you want to ask somebody for money, go into development. You will always have a job because everybody needs really good people to help them raise money and make their mission happen.
Yeah.
And I said, you can go anywhere in the country and have a fabulous job. getting to get to know people and understand why they give and what they care about, and connecting them with something that you're doing. I just think that's so cool.
Yeah.
So that's what I tell people.
I love that. I have one more that I just thought of. So are you from Lincoln, Nebraska?
I am.
Okay. What do you think of Warren Buffett?
I think he's the Oracle of Omaha.
He is.
He's like so funny. He's just the super down to earth guy.
Yeah,
and
seems like it.
Oh, it's hilarious. Like he's lived in the same house forever. He drives the same kind of beat up truck around Omaha. He's hilarious, and his passion is business. I had the opportunity. It's so funny. At my last job in Omaha, I just happened to score a pair of tickets to go to his Berkshire Hathaway big dog deal.
And I want to go so badly. One of these days, we just want to. Yeah, it's so fun.
It is so fun, and he's got this huge marketplace of all of his businesses, and you just walk around in this huge, conference hall,
and they're all super fans of Berkshire Hathaway. Yeah,
and they're so fun. I bought a pair of cowboy boots, and I just like, you can buy anything in there. It's like it's so funny, and people are just having the best time, and people from all over the world come to hear him speak, and he's just this kind of just your Nebraskan. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, just kind of unassuming, just wanders through the crowds and shakes hands and wants to tell you like it is.
Yeah.
Like, here's the good, here's the bad, here's what I know.
Oh.
I mean, it's just So yes, that's what I think of Warren. I think he's great. I've never had a chance to meet him, but he's from what I understand, he's a really good guy.
Yeah, my husband has a pair of Brooks that has a picture of Warren Buffett like on the backs. Yeah, he wears them. He won't wear them when it's raining. He's like, I can't wear these in the rain. Anyway, but we're big fans too. Awesome. Okay, now is the time in the show where this is something we ask every single guest, and you can answer it however you like. It can be applicable to anything, and also we realize that somebody may know it. So with that, the question is, what is something that nobody knows?
About me.
Could be about you.
Oh,
could be about
anything.
Could be about anything.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. Well, because some people know this about me, but not everybody knows that I can juggle.
Ooh.
Actually can juggle. I'm not great at it, but I learned when I was really young.
That's great.
I kind of do it when I'm like, trying to think through something or, figure something out, or I'm just a little stressed. I'll grab my 3 juggling balls and in my office be like,
that.
Yeah.
that would be really fun if you're like, okay, I've got to go in for this meeting. You're kind of prepping for it, and then you open up the door and you're in there juggling. Come on in, guys. I can talk to this lady. Piece of cake.
I know.
I can ask her for a raise. I'm gonna do this.
Right?
She's juggling.
That's all right. You guys go, music going on.
That's incredible. I love that. I love that answer. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for this wonderful conversation. Thank you for letting me dive into your world a little bit. This has been absolutely phenomenal for me. I hope it's been enjoyable for you
too.
My
gosh, I had the best time, Callie. I will talk about this all day, and I just so appreciate being on and your interest, and thank you for being a season ticket holder, and I look forward to seeing you in Broadway.
I look forward to it as well. Okay, well, if you enjoyed today's conversation, please follow the podcast and leave a review. And next time that you're looking for inspiration, check out what's happening at the Morrison Center, one of my favorite places in all of Boise. Next week, we'll hear from another incredible voice shaping Treasure Valley. And until then, thanks for listening.